We'll go live in 3, 2, 1. Right, so it looks like, Chris, we should be live. It looks like it's all working okay, which is good. I'm glad. Let me just put a tweet out saying that we are going live. And we'll give everyone a chance to hop in. And then I think we'll be ready for a stream, Chris. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it looks to be working on my screen.
This is good. This is a really good start. I'm glad.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Feel free to let us know in the chat if you're here. I just want to make sure we've got some people here. It looks like we've got a few people here, so that's good.
Yeah, good afternoon, Not Quit.
Hello.
And to Aiden as well.
Hello. Hi, guys. What's going on? My live chat isn't... I think it's a little bit slow on the YouTube Studio live chat on the computer, so...
well, I'm on YouTube itself, so...
I'm going to bring it up on YouTube after I've done the ad read, I think, so...
Can you tell it's been a year since we've done this?
Well, to be fair, we'll let you into a bit of behind the scenes. My computer decided to crash twice just before we started, so that was fun. That was really great. So pleased with that. It was wonderful. So we were going to have some fancy graphics and everything going on, but we've had to... compromise with just our two wonderful faces here, which, I don't think is the end of the world.
We'll bring those graphics up. We'll bring the graphics up after the draw, and then we can chat about it there.
That's a good idea. So, yes, while I'm here, because we haven't actually got started with the draw yet, have we, Chris?
No, they're still talking.
They're still talking about it. That's wonderful. So, I may as well mention that this episode of the Europuck podcast is once again brought to you by DraftKings. The playoffs are finally here, guys, so that means bigger stakes and even bigger promotions. Now's the time to hammer the over and score yourself some cash, and DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you the chance to do exactly that, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, all players who place a bet on the featured basketball contest this week will have a hand in lowering the game's over-under, and for every 1,500 people who bet the over, the line will drop by 1 point. If that's not enough excitement for you though, guys, even if the line lowers, the odds remain at even money, so you can potentially double your winnings simply by hammering the over. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code THPN when you sign up to hammer the over. For every 1,500 people that bet the over in the featured game, the line drops by 1 whole point, as I just said. This is your chance to improve the odds, so tell your friends and family, guys. It's a team effort after all. That's code THPN during sign-up to hammer the over and improve your chances of doubling your money for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. A big thank you to DraftKings for sponsoring this stream, and technically this episode, because it's going to be our episode this week, Chris. So
yeah, it is, yeah.
Hello, bonjour, hello, hi, hey, and Privyet hockey fans. What's up? How's it going? So,
yeah, it's good.
Yeah, go for it.
Let us know as well if you're if you like this live stuff and being able to join in as we're talking, because we're it's almost like a pilot for next season as well.
It really is, yeah.
It's we're using that. So yes, we've got as we normally record at this time of the week anyway, and the Champions Hockey League draw for next season was happening, we thought, hey, why not, do it live and we'll get our reaction. And so the Champions Hockey League, they're still talking at the moment. They've not started the actual draw yet.
Yeah.
So what I'll do is I'll just run through the format of the draw.
Please do.
So that when we're rabbiting on, everybody understands what's happening. So there are 5 pots this year, and also... that pot 5 has more teams in it. It's a bit complicated, but anyway, pot 5 has teams whose nations are taking part in the final Olympic qualifying weekend. So they have different match days so that it doesn't clash with teams going off to play for their country.
Yes.
So they are being drawn first into groups G and group H with no league protection.
Right.
And then the other 6 groups are being drawn from pots 1 to 4. Pot 4 being the lowest ranked, which has the remaining challenger leagues and the lowest ranked of the founding leagues. They are being drawn first, and then we're going backwards. So the top seeds, your Frölunda, your Växjö Lakers, your EV Zug, those kind of teams, they are being drawn right at the end.
Yes.
Now, in the main draw, as I'll call it, there is league protection. So 2 teams from the same league cannot be together in the group stage. So we might have some clashes where teams move and what have you. We'll explain it all as we go along.
Indeed, yeah. We're going to explain what's going on as it goes along. I'm just trying to create a post and let you guys know on YouTube that we are streaming. So Yeah, it's all going wonderfully well. It's not last minute at all, as you can tell. We're so ready to go here, but I mean, they haven't actually started yet, have they, Chris? So.
No, they're currently explaining the draw, which I've just done.
And you've done it in less time than they did. So you know, who should have been hosting it now, eh, Chris? So yeah, we've got some exciting things going on with the CHL draw. I'm really interested to see. I'm wearing my Rungstead Sea Capitals jersey.
I noticed.
Oh, have you seen it? Oh yeah, of course, because you've got the live stream up. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm watching it now.
I got my Rungstead jersey on. You know, I thought I'd dress up for the occasion. I thought I'd put at least a little bit of effort into it. I mean, come on. And yeah, so we're just going to wait and see what the results are. If you've got any questions for us, anything you want to talk to us about, then do let us know. Because
good afternoon to you, Anthony. I know he's going to very much enjoy some of your pronunciations.
Oh, I'm going to pronounce them all wonderfully for him. Yep, I'm going to do them all deliberately wrong just for you, Anthony. You are very welcome. But yeah, other than that, we're pretty good at just sending this off. Bear with me, Chris. Talk, Vamp. I'm in the middle of something.
Yes, so we're still we're still waiting. They're currently talking about the not having a league clash. So yes, when the draw starts, we'll go through who's drawn into what group. Obviously, from a British point of view, we'll look at the Cardiff Devils, see who they get. Yes. Interestingly, this year, I was thinking back to last year, and normally there's 4 pots with 8 teams in each, but because obviously they're doing it differently this year, there are 5 Swedish teams and 5 Swiss teams.
Okay.
And there are 6 groups for them to go in. So there's an 80% chance you get a Swedish team and a Swiss team.
Well, yeah.
And a 60% chance that you get a German team and a Finnish team.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know whether it's going to be more difficult for the Challenger Leagues this year, but there's certainly I think it's difficult all the time for the Challenger Leagues, but certainly the chances of getting a real powerhouse in Swedish hockey are, I think, increased by some percentage this year.
Definitely. But I think the most interesting little tidbit of information that you let me know of in last week's episode, Chris, is the fact that, there's going to be a situation where a Challenger League is going to go through to the playoffs, which is crazy. So because of this grouping for the final Olympic qualifiers, there's no league protection in that, but the only founder league in that is Austria. Now, you would suspect that the 3 Austrian leagues coming up against the likes of Rouen, Frisk-Asker, Jastrzębie, Rungstad Sea Capitals, and Donetsk, you would expect that those 3 Austrian teams will go through. Yeah.
What that means, though, is that whichever group, G or H, we'll find out in a bit, only has 1 Austrian team in it. Or, well, I suppose actually there's no league protection. They could be all 3 Austrian teams in one group. Don't forget that.
Yeah, it's very true.
So we could end up with one of the Austrian teams not making it, which would really hurt their league ranking for next year if they end up with an Austrian team going out in the group stage.
Oh, yeah.
But you will get at least 1 Challenger League making it to the knockout, because if they are split 2 and 1, there will be a Challenger League in second place in whichever group that is. So, yeah, it's literally just clicked with me that, you could we could end up with all 3 Austrian leagues because there is no protection at all. All 3 Austrian teams could be drawn together.
And, yeah, if none of them make it... Well, one of them, if they were all drawn together, one of them would make it through...
Well, 2 of them would make it through if they're all drawn.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but then we could be in a position where only... one of them makes it through, or if there's 3 of them in a group and 2 of them don't make it, then one of them would have to make it, wouldn't they? Because it's the top 2 teams from each group, isn't it?
Top 2 teams go through, yeah. So you could get a Challenger League that completely surprises us, but you would think they get at least 2 through out of the 3.
You'd hope so, but yeah. So they're still having little conversations with people.
Yes.
There isn't really much to talk about.
They're talking to Guy Fournier, who's the general manager of the Rouen Dragons. I missed who the other person was. But as is always the way with draws, it's the same with World Cup draws or even things where something's meant to happen at this time. What they mean is it will happen half an hour after that.
Yes.
Which is why we thought if we went live at 5 o'clock,
we're starting to drop frames.
To chat to people.
Okay, we're the connection's going a little bit dodgy, but we are roughly going along. We're dropping some frames. It's all going terribly wrong today, Chris. we only dropped about 4% of them, so we should be all right. We should be okay. I apologise if the stream's a little bit stuttery, laziness. I should have set this to record as I went along as well, shouldn't I? But I haven't, so there you go. I could do it now, but we've already missed the preamble. So
this is why we do pilots.
Literally, yeah, this is why we try it for the first time and see what happens. So, everything looks like it's holding okay now. I think there's some thunder going on outside. So,
oh, is there? I've got blue skies here. That might be affecting you a bit.
We've had thunder for the last 3 days. So,
oh, okay. No, none of that.
If everything completely disconnects, that's probably why. Just a heads up.
I was even able to go out and play a bit of golf yesterday. So no, we've had no rain here.
Oh, you're turning into a middle-aged man, Chris, and I love to see it.
I was always a middle-aged man. I was always a middle-aged man.
So we're just essentially going to sit here and chill and have a little chat until the draw takes place. I mean, it's already almost 20 past, so you'd think they get started within the next 5-10 minutes or so. They really can't drag it out that long.
No, and I mean, the actual draw itself never normally takes that long.
No.
But once they've started, it should only be kind of 15 minutes to do the draw. So shouldn't be too long. And then we'll have a bit of a chat afterwards as well. But yes, they're continuing to just talk and talk and talk. Have you got the Champions Hockey League stream up or not?
I do have it up, but I don't have the audio playing because it would be picked up by the mic.
No, I don't either. So. But I thought if I might shut mine down then if you've got it, because we don't really need both of us looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, your internet stuff is going okay, so don't even worry about it, Chris. It's your new fancy fibre internet. So yeah,
I don't know what my speed. Should I do a speed test? See what I'm getting now.
Could you imagine if you did the speed test and then like it completely shut down and was like,
this is what
we can't do it
when we do it live?
Yeah, literally. Well, it's been a long time since we've done anything live, isn't it, Chris?
Saying the only draw not like that was the draw for who was the home team in the 2018 NIHL 2 National Playoff Final, which Anthony did for the IHA from Plastic Cup in the bar at Basingstoke. I'd love to actually do a draw.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Doing a draw would be great.
I feel like the CHL should get some like prominent YouTubers to come and do the draw at some point. That'd be kind of fun. And I'm not definitely recommending myself and trying to get myself a gig with the Champions Hockey League. Not at all. No, come on.
So the Champions Hockey League, they ran a poll over the last few days about which first-time side is going to be the surprise, and it's Rögle Anglerholm who have come out as the winners of that poll. So people across Europe think they're going to be a surprise entry this year. I
mean, given that they finished second place in both the regular season and the playoffs in the Swedish Hockey League, I wouldn't be surprised if they had a good going of it. But the only thing is about earning a place in the Champions Hockey League is that, of course, you don't have the roster that earns you the place. When you're in the competition, you have the roster.
Yes.
Oh, that's some thunder outside. That's lovely. But you have the you have like a hybrid of the roster. Oh, okay. So we started the draw. Rungsted's Sea Capitals, my boys. Yes. Okay.
The first team out.
Well, yeah. So they've been picked first.
Rungsted's Sea Capitals are the first team out. Are they going into Group G?
Yes, they've been picked in Group G according to this.
Yep. I don't know if they're going GH or if they're doing all.
So the next
G
one they've
first,
drawn is Yastreby. It's good that we've been doing this podcast. I recognise the logos now. It's great. So Yastreby's gone into Group H, so I think they're alternating by the looks of it.
Okay, so they're alternating. That's fine.
So Rungsted in Group G, Yastreby in Group H, and so this is the next one. This is the Rouen Dragons. I would imagine they're going in Group C, Group G, sorry. Along with,
you mean Group G?
Yeah, you know what I mean. Along with...
So interestingly, all of the Challenger Leagues coming out first so far.
Well, yeah, because they're doing the other two pots, aren't they?
Yeah, but what I mean is that none of the Austrian teams are out yet in that.
Fair. Yeah, fair point. Speaking of which, Red Bull Salzburg, Chris. Red Bull Salzburg has gone to Group H.
Yours is ahead of mine, so I'm just going on what you're saying.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I've got it on data, so it's all good. I've got it on my phone, so it's not a problem. I love how they have to like mix it up, even though there's like 5 little pucks in there. It always makes me laugh. Next is KAC Klagenfurt going into Group G, along with Rungsted and Rouen. So, but all the Austrian teams aren't in the same group, Chris. So
no.
We've lost out on that opportunity. Oh, what? Also in pot 5 we have Friskaska going into Group H.
So do Bolzano go with Klagenfurt or do they go with Salzburg? That's going to be the question.
That's a very good question. Who knows? We will in a minute. Next up is is that that's the Ukrainian side, isn't it? Donbass?
That's Donetsk.
Yeah, Donetsk.
Yeah.
So it's Rungsted, Ruan, Klagenfurt, and Donbass in Group G, and then the final team is obviously Bolzano going in Group H. Then,
unless something goes disastrously wrong with the draw.
It's Bolzano. It's all good. Crisis averted, Chris. It's all good. If you keep seeing me like looking down, it's because I'm looking at my phone. So Yastreby, Salzburg, Friskaska, and Bolzano in Group H. That's going to be quite a competitive group, I think. I feel like
I think they could. Yeah, I mean, I feel like in the in Group H, you feel that 2 Austrian teams will probably go through from that.
Yeah, probably.
It always catches me out because obviously Bolzano come under Italy, so they've got an Italian flag there, whereas they're in the Austrian league. You feel like they'll come out of those. I don't think Yastreby and Friskaska will probably have enough to be able to. They might pick up a win or two, but I don't think they'll win the group. What's going to be interesting is who out of Rungsted, Ruan, and Donbass Donetsk get into the knockout stage in that Group G.
I was just thinking that as well. I think, to be honest, all of those 3 teams have a legitimate chance. Because let's be honest, in kind of the grand scheme of the European hockey hierarchy, none of them are significantly higher than any of the other teams, apart from, Klagenfurt, who are sitting there in the Austrian league.
Right.
So, the Bremerhaven Penguins.
So this is the Challenger League.
Bremerhaven Penguins is the first one from the DEL.
Okay.
I just want Ice Bar and Berlin. The Berlin Ice Bears, Anthony. The Berlin Ice Bears.
They're going to go into Group A.
I just want to say it wrong just to annoy Anthony, to be honest. In pot 4, so we've had Bremerhaven. Next up, we have the Zurich Lions of the Swiss National League. I'm just checking which group. They would obviously go into the next group, so Group B, I would assume.
They're going to go into B.
Yep, so Group B is Zurich.
There's going to be no clashes in this first pot because obviously there's only 1 team per group.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I forgot about that.
So there's no clashes at all at the moment, so don't worry about that.
Good.
It should just be a case of A, B, C, D, E, F.
Next up, we have the Cardiff Devils. They've been picked.
Hey!
Whee! Up the Devils. They're in Group C. So we've had
anyone who's wondering why I'm kind of just like looking around my screen as well, it's because I'm busy making the graphic for us to talk about after we've done this.
We were going to have that on screen, but then my computer decided to die. Next up, we have Sondersjijk in Group E. Group D. Group D, my bad.
Group D should be Sondersjijk.
Yes, Group D is Sondersjijk, my mistake. I'm getting ahead of myself, Chris.
You are.
Then, penultimately, in Group E, we have Tappara Tampere of the Swedish Hockey League. And then
Tappara in the Liga.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you can tell I'm really not with it today, can't you?
You're not. I can tell you've been stressed out from your computer. That's what I can tell.
And then, last but by no means least, we have Unost Minsk taking Group F.
Yep, Belarusian side.
Oh, who's Cardiff going up against in this year's competition, Chris? If they go up against
I don't know.
Frölunda,
We'll find out.
It's going to be the Växjö Lakers again, isn't it? Because isn't it like last competition they played Växjö, didn't they? Or was it Frölunda?
Yeah, and they've played Frölunda as well.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not gone well so far.
Although, yeah, last year they had the best. They had a decent run. So TPS Turku has just been picked. I'm pretty sure for Group A, I would imagine. Yep, TPS Turku going to Group A.
Okay.
Of the Finnish Liga.
They're really getting on with this draw.
I like it. Good.
So they're in Group A, yeah?
Yes. Then, because we're in pot 3 now, the second team is Mlada Boleslav going to Group B from the Czech Extraliga. So we've got a Swiss team and a Czech team in Group B.
Yep, that's okay. No clashes there.
For Group C, who's going up against the Cardiff Devils, Chris? Let's find out now. Who have they got?
Doesn't really matter.
Let's have a look. Who is it? Zoom in on it. It's Lausanne from the Swiss National League.
That's actually the best one we could have had there.
Yeah, because they were the 4th seed, weren't they?
Yeah, that's the best draw that I think Cardiff could have had in that first grouping so far. So what that means is that we can't have Cardiff don't come up against the likes of Zug and what have you, because you can't have 2 teams.
Joining in Group D is the DL's Red Bull Munich. They've moved into Group D along with Sondersjijk, so German team to go with the Continental Cup winners. Penultimately, joining Tappara in Group E, we have Who is it? Who is it? It's
Could be either of them.
It's Skellefteå going into.
Skellefteå.
So we've got a Swedish
And then-
and a Finnish team in Group E. That's going to be quite competitive, I would think. And then
And then Fribourg Gotteron into
okay,
Group F.
fair enough. There you go. So that's the second pot done. Well, it's the second.
They are not messing about with this.
They're really not, and I love it. I love it. This is great. I love it when people just like once they actually get started, they just get straight to the point. You know.
Yeah.
Because then we can sit here and have a little chat about it afterwards, which is fun. Right, so we've got 2 more pots to go. We have the runners-up pot and then the champions pot.
Essentially, yes.
Yes, so in
Yeah.
Group
So
A...
here's where you might get some clashes. I'll keep you updated.
Indeed. So in Group A, to join Turku and Bremerhaven, we have another Finnish Liga side, Helsinki. So there's going to be a clash there.
So they will move into Group B.
Okay, that's good. So, they're joining Mlada Boleslav and Zurich in Group B. So there's a Finnish team, a Czech team, and a Swiss team. No Swedish team in Group B yet. Let's hope it's Frölunda that goes into that group. That would be a fun group to watch. Helsinki, Mlada Boleslav, Zurich, and Frölunda. That would be fun. So, who's going into Group A instead? Please don't pick the German team. Actually do, because then they'll go to us. Adler Mannheim. Okay, Adler Mannheim's moving to Group C.
Okay, so Adler Mannheim will go into the group with Cardiff
That's-
and Lausanne.
That's actually not bad for Cardiff. Like, yes, Adler Mannheim's a good team, but like the German DL's that little step below some of the other leagues. So this is shaping up to be an
does
okay
make
group
it,
for Cardiff.
It makes it more difficult for the final grouping, though.
Oh yeah, that's a fair point.
Because you've got, if you can't have Swiss or German, you've got either Luco, Vaxo, or Frölunda.
True.
Or Ocelari
Yeah.
Trinek, of
So
course.
in Group A, we have HC Sparta Prague. Finally got a team moving into Group A from
Finally
pot
got
two.
a team that can go into A.
Finally, we got there eventually, guys. Don't worry. So then we've got 3 more to go. So we've got Red Bull Munich and Sondersjijk in Group D. So they've already picked the German team. So
You've got two
HC
Swedes
Lugano.
and
HC
Lugano
Lugano.
are gonna have to go
They're in Group D.
into Group. They're gonna have to go into Group E.
Are they?
Because you've got 2 Swedes left in that pot, and you've only got 3
yeah.
groups.
Okay, fair point.
So they're going to have to go into Group E so that the Swedish teams can go into Group D and Group F.
Okay, so Group E is Lugano, Skellefteå, and Tappara. That's going to be a fun group. That's going to be exciting. That might be quite close, actually, all things considered. So in Group D, we have Rögle. So Rögle are going against Red Bull Munich and Sondersjijk in their first Champions Hockey League competition. Very exciting. And then, last but by no means least, we have Leksands going against Fribourg and Unos Minsk. Then we've only got 1 more pot to go, Chris.
Yeah, now
Please.
this is where we're going to have a lot of clashes. Like, I can pretty much tell you who's going to come up against who without the pot being drawn because of the clashes.
Well, there's going to have to be a Swedish side going into Group C, I would imagine, because we haven't got one yet.
You know, it could go into A. There's 2 Swedish sides left. They could go A and B.
Well, that's
so
true.
Don't, it could happen yet. So, I mean, what you've got, if you can't have Czech, Finn, or Germany, and so you've got to have Swiss or Sweden in Group A, and you've got to have Germany or Swedish in Group B. So it's going to be an interesting one.
You know what I said about them like drawing, like getting on with it once they started. Yeah, they've taken a bit of a pause to have a little chat. So they're talking about Group B or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so what we've got so far then, Group A, we've got Sparta Prague, Turku, and the Bremerhaven Penguins, or the Fishtown Penguins. So they're going to have Frölunda, Vaxo, or EV Zug into that group.
Okay.
In Group B, it's going to have to be Frölunda, Vaxo, or Berlin, because you can't have any of the Swedish teams in D, E, and F.
Yeah.
So those 2 Swedish teams are going to have to go in A, B, and C.
Okay. Let's hope they... Well, actually, I want to say let's hope they don't go into C, but then again, it's like who are the other teams that are in pot?
The best case scenario for Cardiff is Ocelari Trinek go into C.
Yeah, in theory, yeah.
Yes, they won the title, but the Czech Republic is the lowest ranked
That's a
team.
good point. That's a good point. Right, here we go, Chris. We're getting ready to go. Pot number 1.
Okay.
The final pot. Group A.
We want the Swedish teams. From a British point of view, we want the Swedish teams to come out
Who
first.
is it? We have... zoom in on it. I can't see it. Växjö. The Växjö Lakers.
That's your Lakers. Right, that's 1 team down.
That's good. Come on, Frölunda, Group B. Come on, Frölunda Group B. We don't want Frölunda.
in Group B.
They picked Luco. I think we're getting Frölunda, Chris. Oh, no, because
Luco are going into Group C then.
Okay, all right
because
then.
they can't go into Group B.
That's a good point.
So
That's not
Devils
bad.
get Luco.
That's not bad. I mean, it's not Oceleri Trinec, but like, it's not bad.
So Group B will either have Frölunda or Berlin.
Oh, that's going to be fun. Right, let's have a look. We're almost there, Chris. Okay, Group B. Who is it? It is Frölunda. So Frölunda are going up against Helsinki, Mlada Boleslav, and Zurich. I feel like Frölunda and Zurich are going to go through in that group. Although I wouldn't be...
You feel that...
Helsinki might give it a good run for their money, though. And then again, you could make the case for Mlada Boleslav as well, to be honest.
So we've got 3 teams left.
Yeah, so the next one up is the Berlin Ice Bears. So they're going to Group E. Yep, with Lugano, Skellefteå, and Tappara. So then we've only got
so EV Zug. So Zug have to go into Group D, and Trinec have to go into Group F.
Yep, there we go. And then that will be the Champions Hockey League draw officially over. Wow. There's some pretty good groups there, though.
Yes, yeah. So Zug have to go into Group D.
Yep, because Fribourg are in Group F.
Because Fribourg are in Group F.
I mean, they picked it in the right order because Zug is going into Group D, so they picked it in the right place.
Okay.
And then Oceleri Trinec moving into Group F.
Group F. Okay.
So, while you're doing that, I'll just tell you what the groups are. So, in Group A, we have the Växjö Lakers, we have HC Sparta Prague, TPS Turku, and the Bremerhaven Penguin. In Group B, we have the Frölunda Indians, IFK Helsinki, BK Mlada Boleslav, and now they've taken it off the screen, so I can't read the rest of them. That's really helpful.
Okay, where do you got and the Zurich
Lions? They're back. I got
C?
them. Zurich Lions in Group B. Group C, you've got Luco, Adler Mannheim, Lausanne, and Cardiff. In Group D, you have EV Zug, Rögle BK, Red Bull Munich, and Sondersjijk. In Group E, you have the Berlin Ice Bears, HC Lugano, Skellefteå, and Tappara. And in Group F, you have Oceleri Trinec, Leksand, Fribourg Gotthard, and UNOS Minsk, which will also be added... Oh, they've just moved them again. So, yeah, get that sent over to me, Chris. Oh, that's a lovely crack of thunder. I think I might need to readjust... this because now I've got you absolutely massive on my screen, so bear with me.
That's fine. Just give the people what they want to see.
Yeah, they want to see your beautiful mug, Chris. There we go. Give the people what they want.
Yeah. So yeah, let me just I'll get this across to you, and then we'll have that graphic up, and we can look at what we need to do. So I can now close down the draw because I don't need to look at that anymore.
Indeed, they're just having a little chat by the looks of it, so nothing particularly exciting.
So we're using this as we said, using this as a pilot. It's a bit more of a kind of manic one than normally, because of course we're trying to react immediately to things that are happening and
also
trying to make graphics and stuff. So
also we've had a million technical problems as well.
Yeah, we've had a million technical problems.
Although we've managed to make it to the end. We managed to make it to the end.
Well,
I'm very happy.
Emailed you the graphic.
Thank you very much, and I'll add that into the stream. Oh, I got an email from Chris.
What do you guys? Yeah. So, what do you guys think about that draw? Then I see Notcrit says Group B seems to be forming into the group of death, and I mean Frölunda, Helsinki, Mlada Boleslav, and Zurich. I mean, Zurich are a really good side in their own right. Helsinki, of course, came second in the Liga, and Frölunda are Frölunda. So I think if I'm BK Mlada Boleslav, I don't think I'm too happy with that draw. So that's a bit of a difficult one. I mean, from regards to your boys in Rungsted Capital in Group G, I think they've got a good chance.
I'm very happy with it. Yeah.
Obviously, only having Klagenfurt. I mean, once you've got that, once you've got the graphic up on the screen, then we can have a bit of a closer look.
I'm just putting it up. I'm just getting it into frame, and then it should update on the stream very shortly. Boom, there it is. Got it up on the screen. You're welcome, everyone.
Everybody, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think if we go through the groups individually, then in themselves.
Yep.
So as not quick, then G and H are by far the weakest. But as you said, you would assume that with the format.
Yep.
Because they have to get away from that. So I think if we look at those two groups first, let's look at Group G. I think you kind of got to say that Klagenfurt will get out of that group. So
just before we carry on, this is like our rough predictions and kind of our thoughts on how we think this is going to go. Obviously, we could be completely wrong once next season comes around, because like we mentioned earlier, a lot of these teams will be either slightly different or much different compared to the rosters they iced this year, because obviously this year's been a bit of a unique season, all things considered. So take everything we say with a pinch of salt. We're not experts or anything, but we've been following this. We've been following European hockey for the last year or so. So I feel like we kind of have we have a fair amount of stuff to say, and we're fairly like decent, reliable sources here, Chris. But anyway, sorry, carry on. I didn't want to jump in.
Yeah, so let's start with groups G and H then, because they're in the slightly different format. If we start with Group G, I feel that Klagenfurt will get out of that group.
Yeah.
Obviously, Donbass Donetsk are just a completely unknown entity, really. They've never been in the Champions Hockey League before. Nobody really knows what they're about. Rouen and Rungsted, it's difficult because Rouen, of course, they didn't have much game time this year, although they did run away with the league. If you remember, they almost went unbeaten.
Oh, that's true.
So I think that's going to be a difficult one. But I think, obviously, because Donetsk, they're completely unknown, it's kind of difficult to say who you think is going to get out of that group. I mean, obviously, I know who you want to get out of that group.
Yes, my boys.
Yeah. So, I think that's going to be interesting. And then in Group H, I can't see past Bolzano and Salzburg. I think the teams in the Austrian league will get out of that. I don't think Jastrzębie, being the Polish league, and Frisk Asker in the Norwegian league, I don't think they're going to have enough to cause too many problems to Bolzano and Salzburg, really.
Yes, to be honest, I've got to kind of emphasize the statements that you made there, Chris. Like, let's be perfectly honest here. We've looked at the leagues all season long. We've been aware of kind of how well these teams have done. Obviously, all of these teams have been champions of their respective leagues, or close to, or one of the best teams in their respective league. Like, that's how it works, right? But the Rungsted Sea Capitals, I feel like in Group G, Rungsted, Rouen, and Donbass, like, you could make an argument for all of them making it through. Like you said, Rouen had a really good season, even though the League Magnus was cut short, unfortunately. They were nearly undefeated for the entire regular season, so you'd think, okay, if they're nearly undefeated against their contemporaries, they might have a decent chance to go up against some slightly improved competition elsewhere in Europe. The Rungsted Sea Capitals, they were first in the regular season, first in the playoffs. Like, they were clearly the best team in the league. From start to finish, and obviously I'm wearing a Rungsted Sea Capitals jersey, and I've got a bit of bias to them, but at the same time, like, you can't deny the fact that they were one of the top team in their league in both sections of the regular season. But yeah, like you mentioned, Donbass, Donetsk, they are going to be the wild card in that group, and pretty much the wild card throughout the entirety of the tournament, because, like you said, Ukraine have never had a spot in the Champions Hockey League. This is their very first season where they get a representative to go there and compete against the other teams in Europe. They could do really well. They could do really badly. So who knows?
I think the other thing as well is that with those groups, what you've got to remember is that because of the seeding in the main draw, which we'll come on to, in those groups, you've got league winner, league winner, league winner. You know, they've won their leagues.
Yeah.
It's not as if you've got, like, for example, Group A, where you've got Vatsho won the league, Sparta Prague came second, Turku third, and Bremerhaven fourth.
Yeah, good point.
You've got league winner, league winner, league winner.
Yeah.
So those groups could be really interesting.
Absolutely. And yeah, also the fact that it wasn't Salzburg or Bolzano that got through into that Group G, because if one of them had, then there would have been a team that, you know, didn't win their league and weren't a champion, but did, or well, you could say Bolzano, but Salzburg, for example, if Salzburg went in, it would be champion, team that came third place. Whereas in Group G, you've literally got every single team won their either regular season or playoff championship or both. By the end of the season. So, yeah, I think Klagenfurt is basically a lock-in because they had a really good season in one of the better leagues in Europe compared to their other opponents in that group. But the other if I had to guess, I'd probably go Rungsted because they're slightly higher up the pecking order than the others. But then again, once they go up against a team from France and Ukraine, something completely different might happen. So I guess we'll have to wait and see on that front.
Just have a look at the league rankings in there. So you've got, obviously, Donbass aren't on there because Ukraine haven't been in it before. France is ranked 9th and Denmark is ranked 13th.
Okay, so the Rouen Dragons might have a good chance of it because they're considered a slightly better league.
And then in Group H, I mean, you've got Norway and Poland 11 and 12 out of 13 coming up against, the teams in Austria who are ranked 6. So I think it is going to be difficult for them. But, I think the next thing now is fixtures, isn't it, really? And see
Pretty
who
much
plays who when. And
yeah.
But I think let's go into the main draw.
I just want to mention Group H because I didn't really have the chance to have much of a chat about them. Just to quickly finish up, I agree with you that I think Bolzano and Salzburg are going to be. It's essentially their group to lose, really. Yes, Jastrzębie.
I think it is, yeah.
They were the second seed in the regular season. They were one of the best teams. They obviously went through and won the playoffs in the Polish league. Frisk-Asker is there's kind of an asterisk associated with them because, they were the champions of their league, but the entire season didn't run. So, we don't know. They've had so much time off and they haven't iced a roster in such a long time. Then we have no idea. But I could definitely see Bolzano because they were head and shoulders above much of their competition throughout the season.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think it's almost a potential banana skin for one of those teams because what you've got to think about is if, for example, Bolzano get the better of Salzburg in their 2 games, and then let's, for example, say Jastrzębie gets the better of Frisk-Asker in their 2 games.
Yeah.
All it takes is for Jastrzębie to, steal a win, steal an overtime against, say, Salzburg or Bolzano, one of the Austrian teams, and they might find themselves a point outside qualifying.
Yeah.
So it could be a potential banana skin for those 2 teams. As Anthony says, for him, it's Klagenfurt and Bolzano, which I think is the general consensus, really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they're in a league that's ranked much higher. They play much tougher competition, and they've earned their places in the European hockey circuit, has the Austrian league and the teams within the Austrian league. So to see them finishing at the top of their group, I don't think anybody would be surprised at the end of the day. But yeah, like you mentioned, let's move to the main groups. Let's take them group by group. Let's start with Group A.
Yes.
So I'll read off the teams. Do you want me to read off the teams and you can give me your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it. Why not? So in Group A, from the SHL, we have the Växjö Lakers. From the Czech Extraliga, we have HC Sparta Prague. From the Finnish Liga, we have TPS Turku. And from Germany, we have the Bremerhaven Penguins. So Chris, what are your initial thoughts when you see that Group A?
Yeah, it was always going to be difficult if you were drawn in the group with the Swedish champions. We knew it was always going to be difficult, and from a Great British point of view, I'm quite pleased about the fact that we didn't. And I said when we were going into the final pot that, okay, we need the 2 Swedish teams to go into A and B, and lo and behold, it happened.
Hey.
So that was handy for us. I think Växjö, I think they could be quite confident. I mean, Sparta Prague, if you remember, they won the regular season.
Yes.
No, they lost the regular season on the final game. And then Turku as well, 3rd in the Finnish league.
No, I think Sparta Prague won the regular season but lost the playoffs. Because Trinec won the playoffs, I think, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
That sounds about right. It's something like that, anyway.
I've already lost it.
Oh, me too.
And I think so. What you've got there is the champions of Sweden against the 4th placed side in Germany. So you've got the top of the top league against 4th place in the 3rd league. So I think it is going to be difficult for Bremerhaven. Yet I think that's one of those leagues where any team could come out of that.
I mean, I wouldn't say that Group A is the most likely candidate. I think there are definitely some groups within the Champions Hockey League next year where that is definitely a possibility. If you ask me, kind of based on the initial response and knowing kind of the context of the leagues and kind of the structure of the standings and everything, I think it's either going to be Växjö Sparta or Växjö Turku. Let's be honest.
If I had to say, I'd say Växjö and Turku.
Yeah.
But I mean, it could be. I think it will be tough for Bremerhaven, but I think they will pick up a couple of wins somewhere. I think
because like you mentioned, with Bremerhaven being the 4th ranked team in Germany, Turku were the 3rd ranked team in Finland. Am I not mistaken?
Finland, yes.
Yeah. So we've got the champions of Sweden, the champions of the Czech Republic, 3rd place Finnish team, 4th place German team. So yes, Turku and the Finnish Liga are kind of seen as the 2nd best league in this tournament. However, they're the 3rd place team in their respective divisions. They didn't win any championships this year, whereas Sparta Prague did. Yeah, they didn't win the playoffs. They made it to the finals and were 1 win away. but they won the regular season. They were the best team in the regular season at the end of the year. So I wouldn't be surprised if Vexia and Sparta Prague managed to go through. But then again, depending on the team that Turku put together, if they made it through instead of Sparta Prague, I wouldn't be surprised either. So that's how I feel about Group A. It's going to be Vexia, Sparta, or Vexia, Turku. And it kind of sounds like you're thinking the same thing, Chris.
Yeah, it's a similar thing, really. I think it Vexia against Turku. As Notquist said, Turku did make it to the finals of the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair, yeah.
I think Bremerhaven... I was going to just double-check everything on Flash scores, but they've already put up next season's Extra Liga, so I can't look at it anymore. So, yeah, I think it is going to be... is it going to be a tough group? But I think it could... it's going to be any two of the top three, I think, in that.
Yeah, so let's move on to Group B, which I think is going to be a very fun group to watch. So the Frölunda Indians from the Swedish Hockey League obviously earned their place at the tournament as the champions of the Champions Hockey League for several years running now. Then you have IFK Helsinki from the Finnish Liga, BK Mlada Boleslav from the Czech Extraliga, and the Zurich Lions from the Swiss National League. Now, I feel this one, maybe this group, and I don't know, maybe Group D or Group E. This is probably the group that I think it could go one of however many ways. I think my initial thought would be, obviously, Frölunda, they didn't have the best regular season last year. They didn't have the best playoffs last year. But you can never count out the Frölunda Indians in the Champions Hockey League. I think anybody that does is a stupid person.
I think even though Frölunda didn't have the best of seasons this season, and potentially that might make teams look at them and go, okay, they're beatable. This may well be called the Frölunda Hockey League.
Yes.
I think Frölunda are always really strong.
Yes.
I think Zurich, we know, are always a strong side as well. So you're looking at those two. Helsinki, they did play really well. They came second in the Finnish League, despite playing a lot of games less than the teams around them, because they just won so many. They got up there on points per game. I think it's going to be difficult for the Czech side of Mlada Boleslav, if I'm honest, coming up against teams like Frölunda and Zurich. I think it is going to be tough. Helsinki, I think it's going to be between Helsinki and Zurich for who gets that second spot, just because we never kind of count Frölunda out, really.
Yeah, I think... Given the fact that they've gone to the I'm pretty sure they've gone to the playoffs every single time, and they've, had a deep run in the playoffs every single year. They obviously haven't won it every single contest, but they've won it a fair number of Champions Hockey League contests, all of them bar one or two. I think it's bar two competitions, they've won every single Champions Hockey League trophy, so... I'm not going to count them out. I'm not. I'm expecting them to go through. If they surprise everyone and don't make it through, then wow, okay, we're going to have a really interesting tournament here, because we're going to have a new champion. Because obviously Frölunda won the last competition, didn't they? But Zurich have always, like you said, always been a good side. They've always been a strong team in the Champions Hockey League, and they didn't have the best season in the National League this year, but. It's kind of, you see with teams like Frölunda and Zurich, they might not have the best domestic seasons, but they take the Champions Hockey League quite seriously. And that's why Frölunda's been so successful, to be honest. So,
I think so, yeah. I think like Andrew says, good afternoon to you, Andrew. I know you often appear around the British ice hockey scene. I say Frölunda and IFK Helsinki should go for. I think the difficult thing as well is that because, as we've said, and especially it happens with all draws with stuff like this, is that the teams that we've seen in the last year are not necessarily the teams that are going to be in the draw. There could be any number of roster changes. And I know initially in the first half of the season, we saw quite a few players coming across before the NHL started up and things like that. Yeah. So, there is a bit of a difference to it, but I think some of these teams are kind of always strong.
Yeah,
and I think you could kind of say the teams that are going to come out of Groups A and B. Group C, however, I think is quite a tasty group.
Yes, and I think that's going to be the one we watch the closest anyway. But so for Group B, I'm going to say Frölunda and Zurich are going to go through. We're going to give a proper 1 to 4 ranking of every single group at the end, by the way, Chris. So I hope you're keeping an eye on the ones that you said are going to go through. So Group C.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to get a pen and paper.
Go for it. So from Group C, we have Lukko from the Finnish Liga, the champions of Finland. We have Adler Mannheim from the German DEL. We have Lausanne HC from the Swiss National League. And the Cardiff Devils from the Great British Elite Ice Hockey League. So now, obviously, Cardiff is a long shot. They're an underdog. obviously we're going to follow Cardiff the most because they're the team representing our domestic league here in the UK. I think it's still going to be unlikely that they make it through, but I think in a group like this, there's a chance. I think in any of the other groups, bar, say, Group F, or maybe even Group E, there's a chance.
I was going to say, yeah.
So
I think there is a chance. I think Luco will win the group. But I think that Cardiff have got a chance against Lausanne. I mean, Adlan Mannheim were really strong this year in the DEL, but they have got a chance against the Swiss teams, the German teams. We have seen that the British teams are capable of beating the teams from these areas. Just look at the Panthers. So I think Cardiff can pick up wins. It's can they pick up enough wins to get themselves second spot? It remains to be seen, but I think they have got a good chance in this group.
I think the interesting thing about this, because we've obviously talked about in Group A, it's, champion, third or second place team in the playoffs, fourth place team from Germany. In this group, we've got the Finnish Liga champions. We've got a team that they topped Group South, but they lost in the semi-final round of the playoffs, and Lausanne, who finished in fourth in the league. And they didn't make it past the second round of the playoffs. Did they make it to the semi-finals, Lausanne? I think they did. No, because it was Zurich and Geneva Servette, wasn't it, in the semi-final round, and then Geneva Servette went through to the final, didn't they? So Lausanne didn't have the best season. Adler Mannheim had a good regular season, but they couldn't get it done in the playoffs. The only thing about Cardiff is I think they're a complete unknown entity this year because they haven't played in.
There is that.
They haven't played in almost 2 years now. So as much as we'd like to see Cardiff go through, I think that will help them get some pretty top-notch imports from across Europe and get the opportunity to put together a pretty decent squad because, hey, look, we're going against some of the top teams in Europe this year. How about you come play for us? But yeah, it's kind of similar to Donbass Donetsk. We don't know anything about this Cardiff Devils squad because they didn't play last year. So we can't sit here and go, you know what, I'm going to pick them to go through because not only are they playing against some really good teams, maybe not the best in their respective leagues, but some pretty good teams nonetheless. We've also got the situation where they haven't played in ages, so we don't know what kind of team they're going to be like. We don't know how many of their players from the previous Champions Hockey League run that are going to be retained. We don't know we don't know if Ben Bounds is going to be back. We don't know if they're going to get some of the other top UK players to come join them because they're in the Champions Hockey League. There's so many question marks around this Cardiff Devils squad that is... I mean, based on my kind of predictions right now, I'd have to put them at the bottom of the group just because we don't know. Now, I'd love to be proven wrong because I'd love to see Cardiff go through. They've been slowly chipping away at the Champions Hockey League and they'd been carrying a lot of momentum up until last year where obviously the competition didn't take place. And I think they might have actually competed for a playoff spot last year if the tournament had gone ahead. But what are your thoughts on Group C, Chris? Who do you think is going to go through the two teams?
Yeah, I've put Luco at the top, of course, and I think I agree with Andrew there that there aren't. I mean, obviously it's the Champions League. There's no easy games, and particularly not for Cardiff. But I think, as Anthony said as well, they could, win the home games there, particularly with the Cardiff fans in the arena because it's a great arena if you're a home player. If you're away, as I've been several times, it is a bit of a nightmare.
Good, that's the way it should be.
Mad. Yeah, exactly. So I think it could be really strong for Cardiff at home, and they might be able to nick something away. So I'm optimistic about their chances, and I think they could pick some victories up. And we'll see over the course of the group. I mean, I've done my 1-4s now, so I can't change it.
Fair enough.
We'll see what's happened. But I'm optimistic about Cardiff in Group C, but. I think they should do all right. I think Group D is going to be another really interesting one as well.
Yeah, Group D is going to be fun. So in Group D, we have EV Zug of the Swiss National League, Rögle BK of the SHL, Red Bull Munich of the German DEL, and Sondersjijk as the 2019 Continental Cup champions. Now, I mean, obviously, kind of similar situation to Bremerhaven in Group A or Cardiff in Group C. We're expecting Sondersjijk to finish at the bottom of that group. They didn't even win the Danish Metaligaen. They got in because they won the Continental Cup 2 years ago. So, You know, they finished... Didn't Sondersjijk finish third in the Metaligan this last year? I'd need to double check that.
It for you.
But they obviously did, like, they weren't the champions of their league, so they're obviously coming in with a bit of a handicap compared to some of these other teams. EV Zug.
So Sondersjijk finished fourth.
That's it.
In the Metaligan, 25 points behind Rungsted, and then they got beaten by Rungsted in the semi-finals by 4-1. On that point, though, of Sondersjijk being the Continental Cup winners, obviously there is precedent of the Continental Cup winners getting out of the group and into the knockout stages. So I think, yes, it's unlikely, but don't, necessarily write Rungsted off. And I think that's in the same way as I think a lot of people, wrote the Panthers off the year they got out of the group, particularly coming up against the likes of SC Bern.
Although you'd make the argument that the UK is the highest ranked Challenger League and the Denmark is the lowest ranked Challenger League out of 13, aren't they? So...
it is
different
now,
circumstances.
But obviously don't forget that obviously this was a few years ago, so the rankings were a bit different.
Yeah, no, very true. Very true. I mean, I think it's hard to deny that EV Zug are going to make it through to the next round. Like, just how much they dominated the Swiss National League this last year. If they're able to keep the majority of their roster together and keep all the core pieces together and complement them with a few extra additions in the off-season, EV Zug are going to be rocking and rolling in Group D. I can't imagine, unless something terrible happens or something terribly goes wrong, I can't imagine that Zug will be out of the playoff contention from Group D.
No, I think they're going to go through. I think it's going to be interesting between Munich and Rögle.
Yes, absolutely.
Because Rögle, of course, again, they've never been in the Champions Hockey League, so they don't know what it's like. They're not necessarily used to playing these teams in this high-impact environment. And I think that's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be difficult for Sondersjijk. And I think it is going to be two of those top three teams in that Group D on the graphic there. So I think it is going to be two of those three. But I think that's going to come down to the games between Rögle and Munich. But don't rule out Rögle, who came second in the Swiss in the SHL, coming up strongly against Zug from the Swiss league. I know Zug was so dominant, but I think it is going to be, Rögle and Munich, they might nick a game, force a game to overtime and grab a point. But I do think it's going to be two of those top three again.
Oh, definitely. I guess the biggest question is how far does experience or Champions Hockey League experience go in the tournament? Because obviously Rögle is their first season.
But again, just because the team is the first time in the Champions Hockey League doesn't necessarily mean the players they have are going to be in the first time in the Champions Hockey League, because obviously getting into the CHL is going to be a draw for some top talent.
Yes, that's something I'd be very interested to know, like how many of these teams go, okay, we're going to get lots of like CHL veterans to join our squad this year because we want to go deep into the Champions Hockey League. I'd be interested to know if there are any teams that plan that way. Obviously, the domestic season comes first, because then they could secure themselves a place in the competition next year, and etc. And because the home fans obviously pay more attention to their success in the domestic season. But yeah, I feel like Group D is going to be fun to watch, similar to Group B, but for different reasons. Because Group B is kind of the group of death, whereas Group D is kind of like, in my mind, we've got a clear first place and a clear fourth place. It just depends on who's second and third. So let's move on to Group E, shall we, Chris? So we've got...
Group E, I think, is the most open group of them all, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
Group E and
I
F, I think, are quite open groups.
Absolutely. So in Group E, we have Eisbär and Berlin. I'll say it right for you, Anthony. You're welcome. HC Lugano. We have Skellefteå from the Swedish Hockey League and Tappara Tampere of the Finnish Liga. Now, we've got the champions of Germany in there. We've got the second place regular season team from the Swiss National League, but they didn't go they got upset in the first round of the playoffs by Rapperswil, the 10th seed. We have Skellefteå. I can't remember where Skellefteå finished, and then Tappara finished fourth, didn't they, in the playoffs, and I think the regular season as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so Skellefteå, they finished fourth in the regular season.
Okay.
But they didn't make it too far in the play. Oh, they made it to the semi-final. They lost to Rögle in 5 games in the semi-finals.
To be honest,
and then
oh, sorry, you go. Sorry, Chris.
I was going to say, and then Tappara, they in the Finnish Liga, they got through. They lost to Lukko in the semi-finals of the playoffs, and then obviously got completely annihilated by Helsinki in the third place game, if you remember. The Tappara came fourth in the SHL, finishing. So that finished early with on points per game, but they would have finished fourth anyway. So
yeah, and obviously then there was the third place game in the playoffs where Helsinki kind of destroyed them,
7-1,
as Notcup mentioned in the chat, which we had a good laugh about on the podcast a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, because that was going on while we were recording.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, okay, it's 7-0. Okay.
Yeah. See, the one thing I find the most interesting about Group E compared to the other groups, especially like the Group of Death, for example, I think this could be the one group where the highest ranked league might not do the best, because usually we have there's the convention that, okay, a Swedish Hockey League team, they're probably going to finish first or second because, you know, they're a higher ranked team, their level of hockey is considered slightly better than the other leagues out there. But I think the fact that Berlin was the champion of their league, Lugano finished second and had a terrible playoffs, Skellefteå finished fourth, Tappara finished fourth in both the regular season and the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if Berlin actually managed to win this group, if they managed to keep a lot of their players together, you know?
Yeah, and I think any of those teams could get out of that group. I think my gut instinct is the one that's the most unlikely is Skellefteå. I mean, I'm kind of being drawn towards Berlin and Tappara because... you know, that side, the Tappara side is so, you know, has got Champions Hockey League experience. They know what it's all about. And I think the thing with the Finnish Liga and with the SHL as well is that even when you go down to the third place, the fourth place, they're still really strong sides. Yeah. It's like in the Premier League in football here. Yes, you've got Manchester City at the top, but Manchester United and Chelsea and Liverpool are still strong sides. So, and I think you kind of almost need to not get caught up too much in, oh, well, they finished fourth, so they're not going to make it out of the group.
Oh, absolutely.
Because again, the years are completely different. So I think that's a wide open group. I think really any 2 from 4 could come out of Group E, and I think it's pretty similar to Group F as well, although Minsk might struggle in Group F.
Yes, absolutely, but just like you mentioned, obviously you shouldn't discount the fourth place teams. It's less so about discounting the teams that finished lower and more giving credit to the teams that won their respective league, because you know, if you've got a team, obviously only 2 out of the 4 teams can go through. If the difference maker is, okay, you've got a roster that knows what it takes to win a championship in their domestic league, and they've got a squad together that seems to be really clicking, and they're riding high on their momentum from the season last year, and they've added some solid pieces, then it's less so about going, oh, well, Skellefteå finished in 4th, so they're not going to make it through, and more going, well, Berlin, they're just on a hot streak at the moment, and I think they could pull off the upset against some of the higher ranked teams. It works both ways at the end of the day, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think the thing with Group A, B, and E as well is that there aren't any challenger leagues in those groups because of obviously the G and H and the different way it's been done this year. Normally, there's a challenger league in each group, but there isn't. There isn't this year. So you've got A, B, and E, where you've got top teams in founder leagues. So they're going to be really good groups to watch. And I think Group F as well. Yes, you've got Trinec who won the Czech Extraliga, but it is the lowest ranked founding league. That's not taken away from them. They are a really good side. And then you look at Leksands, who came second in the Swedish Hockey League, and Fribourg Gotthard from Switzerland. I think realistically Minsk aren't going to get out of that group.
No.
And I think if I'm being honest, I mean I've got it down as being Trinec and Leksands. I think those are the sides that are going to come out of Group F. But again, I think Fribourg are going to give those teams a good go. And Minsk, again, they're a bit of an unknown entity because they've not been in the it's a difficult one, so I don't really know, really.
So, yeah, just to remind you, we've obviously looked at Group G and H, so the last group for us to look at is Group F, which has Oceleri Trinec from the Czech Extraliga, Leksands from the SHL, Fribourg Gotthard from the Swiss National League, and Junost Minsk from the Belarusian League. I'm going to actually disagree with you a little bit there, Chris, because Leksands, I think they might end up finishing 3rd in this group. Now, no kind of discredit to Leksands. They had a really good season last year. But from what I can tell, their strong season last year was kind of seen as a bit of a surprise because they're one of the smaller clubs, one of the potentially lesser funded clubs in the SHL compared to some of the other teams. And they've never made it to the Champions Hockey League. This is their first appearance in the Champions Hockey League. As far as I'm aware, I think that's the case. So Fribourg Gotthard have been there before. Osleri Trinec has been there before, and they've both had pretty decent results in the Champions Hockey League in years past. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Fribourg take that second spot and Lexans finish third, although you can make an argument. Lexans, yeah, they might be a smaller club, but they obviously had some really good success last year, and if they keep that roster together, they stand a chance, definitely. They're more than capable.
They're one of those sides, aren't they? I mean, Lexans, they finished the regular season 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. They finished the regular season winning 13 of the last 14 games in the regular season, and then got swept by 6-seed Orebro in the playoffs.
Exactly.
In their first thing in the playoffs. So I don't really know what to make of Lexans too much.
They're kind of a bit of a dark horse team, if you ask me. It's like them and Rögle are kind of the dark horse teams. We've got like the unknown teams in kind of Cardiff and Donbass, but like the bigger leagues, Rögle and Lexans from the Swedish Hockey League, because they've both never made it before. Like, this is both their first appearance, and obviously Lexans, they had such a good end to the regular season, but then completely imploded in the playoffs. Like, it's so difficult to predict because, you know, Lexans, are they going to be able to repeat that 13-win streak or 13-win run towards the end of the regular season, or is the changes they make this offseason going to hamper their ability to put on a decent show against their competition? So I think we should finish up by giving a prediction of every single group and how they're going to finish. Obviously, the draw has just taken place today. The first games take place at the end of August, as far as I'm aware. Yep. So, that's the first ones that aren't involved in Olympic qualification, if I'm not mistaken. I might be completely wrong about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Chris and I are going to give you our 1, 2, 3, and 4 for every single group, and you can tell us whether you agree with us or whether you think we're completely wrong. So, Chris, Group A, take it away.
I've gone Växjö, Turku, Sparta Prague, Bremerhaven.
Okay, I'm going to go Växjö in first, Sparta Prague in second, Turku in third, Bremerhaven in fourth.
I've got a different colour pen to write yours down.
Look at you. Now, the question will be, will we be able to remember that we did that and you've written it down in about a year's time when we come back to it and go,
you know what I'm like.
That's very true. You're not too bad with that, actually. Now, if it was me, on the other hand, probably not.
Oh, it would be lost tomorrow if it was you.
Well, hey, come on, Chris. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Sparta Prague, because they were the champions, and Turku... I don't know. I'm feeling Prague have a bit of an edge, sides. You know? Yeah. Let's move on to Group B. Chris, who you got?
Yep. I've gone Frölunda, Zurich, Helsinki, and then Mladá Boleslav.
I'm going to go exactly the same on that one. I think Zurich are going to go through to the next round. They're a consistent playoff contender in the Champions Hockey League, and Frölunda, never counting them out ever. Whether they finish second or first in their group doesn't matter. They're making it through to the playoffs. Call it now. That's my hot take. The team that always wins the championship is going through to the next round. You know what's going to happen now that I've said that they're going to do that? They're going to completely implode in the group stage.
Every game.
Lose every game like 6-0 or something. Right, Group C, Chris, who you got?
I've gone for Luco winning it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been optimistic. I've gone Cardiff second.
I thought you might.
Adler Mannheim third, and then Lausanne fourth.
I think this one's going to be really interesting. I really don't. I'm going to put Cardiff in fourth because I'm going to be based on kind of the leagues and the fact they haven't played in so long. I've got to be somewhat realistic about this. You've got the kind of hopeful pick with them in second, so we'll come back down to earth for this one. And I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to say Lausanne and Adler Mannheim are going to make it through. I don't know.
Okay,
there's
Lausanne
something about
top.
it. Yeah, I'm going to say Lausanne top, Adler Mannheim second, Luco in third, and Cardiff in fourth. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Luco made it, but you put Luco to go through, didn't you? So
yes.
I'll mix it up a little bit just to have some differences. I don't know. I'm just feeling Adler Mannheim and Lausanne might have a good show in it. So, okay, Group D, Chris, lay it on me. Who you got?
I've gone Zug, Munich, Rögle, and then Sonderschalke at the bottom.
Okay, interesting. I would agree with you, but just for the sake of difference, and because Rögle, they are a decent team, I'm going to go Zug, Rögle, Munich, Sonderschalke.
Yep.
I feel, like I could definitely see Munich going through, but just to keep it somewhat different, so we're not just getting the exact same answers, because we basically agreed on every single thing we discussed. Right, Group E, Chris.
Yeah, there's a few changes.
Who you got?
Group E, I've gone Berlin, Tampere, Skellefteå, and Lugano.
Oh, that's a fun. That's interesting. I like that. I think I might go completely different with this one.
Go on then.
I'm going to go Lugano, Berlin, Skellefteå, Tappara.
Okay.
That's the group that I think I have no idea. I have
Yeah, I
no
don't
idea
either.
whatsoever, and I could very much see every single team from that group going through.
Yeah.
Group F, Chris, who you got?
Group F, I've gone, well, as they are on there, I've gone Trinak, Lexans, Fribourg, Gotha, and Minsk.
Okay, I'm going to go Trinec, Fribourg, Gotteren, Lexans, Minsk, because I think Fribourg are going to... I feel like Lexans might struggle. I don't know. I'm just feeling something. You know, they're a smaller team. Will they be able to pull the same kind of players as last year, or will they be able to retain a lot of their group? They obviously had a very disappointing end to the playoffs, so maybe some changes might take place in the organisation. I don't know. I'm just making some excuses. I think Fribourg's going to go through. Penultimately, Chris, Group G. Who have you got?
Yes, I've gone Klagenfurt at the top, and then I've gone, because obviously the rest is just a complete unknown.
Yes.
I've gone Rungsted,
Yes.
and Donetsk. So I'm going to go Rungsted going through.
I'm going to go exactly the same, Chris. Klagenfurt, my boys Rungsted, Rouen, and Donbass. I've got to back the people that sent me a free jersey.
To just be like the best team ever and then the top of the group.
Go through to the semi-finals, play Frölunda in the Champions Hockey League final, because why not? Because they're Ukraine, god damn it. I mean, I've got to back the team that actually sent me a Champions Hockey League jersey. So,
you do. Yes.
And then last but by no means least, well, technically least. No, I say Group G is least. But last but by no means least, Chris, Group H, who you got?
I've got Bolzano and Salzburg going through, and then I've got Jastrzębie just having the edge over Friskaska to go third and fourth.
Just for the sake of difference in this one, I'm going to go Bolzano, Salzburg, Friskaska, Jastrzębie. Only to make it a little bit different towards the bottom of the group, because I mean, it's
I think
probably
realistically, those
teams.
two. I think realistically, Bolzano and Salzburg will go through.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, I'll put that somewhere.
Wonderful.
For a year.
And we'll come back to it in a future live stream in 2022 and go, "Way, we got all of them right," or "Oh no, we did terribly wrong because Cardiff won the Champions Hockey League." We're gonna have to do a playoff one as well once that comes around. So
we will have to do a playoff one, But I mean, that's the Champions Hockey League group stage draw, really. I mean, next week the World Championships are up and running, so we're talking all about that.
Starts in 2 days, Chris. I'm buzzing.
It does. We've got a kind of UK ice hockey media just for fun sweepstake going round.
Yes.
With a load of us. There's the two of us. There's Anthony in the chat from Banners on the Wall. There's Caitlin and Mark from Hockey Across the Pond. There's John O'Bullard. There's Chris Ellis, who is out in Riga as well at the moment.
Oh, lucky him. Going out there and joining the team.
So on Friday, which is normally when this would go out, we've got Anthony in the chat against me. Yoko going up against Chris Ellis.
Great.
I'm then also coming up against the spare team, and Jono's coming up against Mark. So we'll have to see.
So do you want to explain the sweepstakes and like who got what teams, Chris? Because
I
want them to know what I'm working with here, Chris.
So what I did is I used a random generator to give everybody who was taking part a team in Group A, and then I split the groups in Group B. So what I did is the people who got the lowest ranked sides in Group B then got the highest ranked sides the lowest ranked sides in Group A got the highest ranked sides in Group B. So the theory was that everybody got a good team and a not so good team.
In theory.
Hayden ended up, in theory, there was always going to be one person who kind of didn't do too well out of it.
I wonder who that was, Chris.
Yeah, that person ended up being Oddman Rush.
Yay!
Denmark and Latvia.
Oh!
I mean, to be honest, I've got the Czech Republic and Italy. I'm not I'm not.
You got the Czech Republic, Chris. They could make the playoffs. I've got Denmark and Latvia, Chris.
You need to hope that you both your teams don't make it out of the group stage, then you can pick up Sweden and Germany.
Or I've just got to hope that like Latvia cheat through the entire tournament because they're the home team and get all the best advantages and they win. Yeah. Why not?
I mean, let's go. Chris Ellis has got the best. He's got GB, who of course we all wanted, and then he's got Canada as well. So
that's a solid group. Although to be fair, Finland have been the team to beat over the last couple of years. So
they have, they have. Yeah, as Notquit says, it's sad to hear that GB's head coach won't make it to the competition. Yeah. I mean, he came out and he said that he missed his child's surgery and his wife's cancer diagnosis and stuff as well for it. So this one is just taking a step back because he came back into the UK and had to then do isolation if he was then going out again. And At the end of the day, yes, it is his job, but you've got to have that work-life balance and be with your family more as well. So
because he's been in the German DL 2, is that it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's been in the lower leagues of the German system, and he's been there. I think he said for the last 9 months. So like he's been gone for the entire season and then some, and then he would have come home, stayed for a little while, and gone straight back out again. And given everything that him and his family have gone through, like I do not blame him at all. I would have made the exact same decision if I were him. And like he's. It's good to hear that everybody in the kind of UK hockey system was understanding of the circumstances and the fact that GB have 2 very capable assistant coaches that will be taking the reins. They know Pete Russell's system. They've been there for years with him. Essentially, all the success that Team GB have had over the last half a decade, it's been those 3 coaches that have led that success.
Yeah.
So
essentially,
they're in very safe hands, I think, our team, you know?
And then Andrew as well says, who do you guys think will win the World Championships and why? My gut instinct is that it will be a Scandinavian side. I think it will be Sweden or Finland. I think there's a lot of, what you would call the top Canadian and American players that aren't in the rosters because of the NHL.
And not only that, Chris, but because there's been so much. I looked at the US roster and I was like, really? Like, these are the players that they're going with? It's also because of the crazy year that they've had. A lot of them, if they have been playing in the NHL and their teams haven't made it, they've had to be in practical isolation for much of the year. So they're just like, I just want to go spend some time with my family. Like, I've missed them, So I don't blame them.
I think Sweden or Finland is my guess.
Yeah, I think... Russia would be really good, I think.
Well, what athletes that have come from Russia that aren't called Russia, because they're not allowed to be team.
Pretty much Olympic, because it's not Olympic athletes from Russia, is it? It's like representatives from Russia or something.
I think it's Russian Olympic Committee. Even though it's not Olympic, it all comes under that from memory.
We'll just call them Russia.
Yeah.
It just makes more sense, doesn't it? Just call them Russia. I'm going to go with... I don't think Finland... I don't want to discount Finland and say that they're not going to win it, but then again, when's the last time a team won 3 consecutive World Championship golds? I feel like that's very unlikely. I'm going to go Russia.
Going to find out. I'm going to find out.
Go for it. I'm going to go Russia just for the sake of it, I think. I'm going to go Russia because they've got a stacked team.
Okay. So we'll just finish off then with the last time...
Although I do want Latvia to win, because then I win the sweepstakes, so...
That's true. So the last time a team won 3 World Championship golds in a row was the Czech Republic, 1999, 2000 and 2001.
Yeah, so it's been 2 decades. So, the chance of it happening, unlikely. But then again, Finland are a good team. I feel like this year is going to be so much more up in the air. Like I mentioned with, obviously, the lots of NHL players that aren't taking part. Like, I looked at the US roster and I thought, okay, this is not the roster I would have put together with all the players available. But like I said, the players have actually got to want to go or be available to go. So, I think it's going to be really interesting. I think a lot of the teams are going to be missing their top talent, not only because of the playoffs, but because of the current circumstances. So it could be anybody's competition, really, because none of them, I think, apart from the lower tier leagues and lower tier teams that, playing for their national team in the World Championships is like the big thing for them because they're not guaranteed a spot in the Olympics or anything. I feel like all the kind of big hitters in the tournament, they're not going to have the roster that they would have liked or wanted. So it could very much be anybody's guess as to who wins. But I'm going to say Russia for the sake of it.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I think on that note, Chris, I think this is a really good place to end our first live episode of the Europuck podcast. We had a few technical problems early on, but it seemed to level itself out.
It'd be...
Go for it.
It'd be great to hear what all you guys thought. Did you enjoy it being live, being able to join in the live chat and have a bit of interaction with us? This one, as I said, it was a bit rushed at the start because we had the technical problems and then we were trying to keep up with the draw. Whereas the second half of it, where we were just talking, we could interact with you more. Is much more what it would be like on a weekly basis. So let us know if you enjoyed this, and of course, being on YouTube, you will be able to catch up if you missed the start of it, or anybody who's not available normally will be able to catch up, and we'll be talking all about the World Championships next week.
Exactly. We've only got a couple more episodes to go before the summer, and then we'll be taking a break, most likely, over the off-season. We might have one more, two more episodes. It depends how long I'm in quarantine for and what I've got time to do, etc., etc. We'll figure stuff out and we'll let you know as we go along.
We'll sort it. and let you know.
Yeah, exactly. So this is essentially a pilot potentially for season 2 of the Europuck podcast, if you guys want it to carry on next season. But yeah, I think it's a really good place to finish up. Thanks for watching on YouTube, guys. I don't know if the audio version is going to be available. I'll have to double check with the network and see how we can go about doing that, because it's been a live stream, obviously. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you're watching on YouTube, if you do happen to listen to the audio version, if it's available, thanks for tuning in as well. If you want to keep updated on all things Europuck podcast, or send us your thoughts, opinions, or questions, either from today's live stream or for our next show, obviously this is going out a couple of days early compared to our usual episodes, so you've got time to go back and watch it if you want to watch it again on Friday. You can send your thoughts, opinions, anything like that to us on Twitter or Instagram at Europuck Podcast. And if you enjoyed listening to either or both of your hosts today, which we really hope you did, then you can follow myself on Twitter at OddmanRushYT or Chris at Chris_Gadsby. Thanks again for watching and or listening, guys, and we really appreciate you coming out. I'm going to hit end stream now, so goodbye.